I am so excited to have my beautiful wife on the podcast today, Arlene Pelicane. Arlene, welcome to the show.
Oh, this is lovely. Thank you so much for having me, dear.
My hunch, living with me, you're going to have a lot of good recommendations for dads. This is the Christian Dad Podcast.
Yes, you are a
Eh,
very good dad, and you're a very funny dad.
Yeah, well, like some say, God makes the back for the burden.
People
So
are
I'm
being
sure you
like,
have
"I
a,
don't understand what that means."
well, you've written many books. How many books have you written?
10?
10 books. I give her so
Like,
much
don't you
content.
it's like, "Don't you know this, dear?"
It's like so much content. I give her so much content. Let me tell you. You're welcome. All
Thank
righty.
you.
Today we're diving into Parents Rising, my second favorite book that Arlene has written. My first favorite book is Making Marriage Easier, but this is my second favorite.
Wow, so this actually went ahead of 31 Days to a Happy Husband. I'm kind of surprised.
It's good. Yes, this is
Wow,
hard.
it's good.
But yes, I'm going to say yes. Now, I have a question for you, Arlene. I mean, out of all the books, a lot of books out there, and there must have been some kind of a milestone or an event or an inspiration that led you to write this book. What was it?
Yeah, this one is very near to my heart. It's 8 strategies for raising kids who love God, respect authority, and value what's right. And I think what we are seeing is maybe the parent of the past was all rules and no relationship. But then the parent today is all relationship and no rules. And it's like a mess. So I was seeing that, wow, these little kids are scaring the parents. And by scaring, I mean, they could just throw a fit and they could get anything that they wanted, right? I remember being at our child's elementary school and we're volunteering. And here we are as parent volunteers. And the little kid, like a third grader, was like, make me. We were trying to help them play a game, like trying to get them in order. And they literally looked at my friend and said, make me. And I was like, "What is wrong with you? We are volunteering our time to help you in your class." And so that kind of like my grandmother, my mother would have never looked at an adult figure, loving, authoritative adult figure and said, "Make me." So all that to say, I just knew, wow, something is wrong in how we're raising kids and we must address it. So parents rising.
And is this book geared towards a particular parent with younger kids, with adult kids? I mean, where does this kind of come into the fray?
Yeah, I think, with parenting books, of course, the sooner you can read the parenting book, the better, because then you're like, oh, I've just read of what I want to do when you're in elementary school and you're not in elementary school yet, and I can actually do it. Right. But then you can read something and say, oh man, I wish I knew that 5 years ago. So I think the younger your kids are, the more helpful Parents Rising is. However, just like in life, even if you miss a certain window, you have a window now, so then the next best time to pick up my book is when your kid's a teenager or when your kid is 12 or, whatever it is, that this book still works as long as you have a child in the home. Now, I will say, if you have like a college age student living under your roof, right, or a young adult, this may not be the book for you.
Yeah, so we have one of those right now. We have
Yes, we
three
do.
kids. Tell us about our kids.
Our children, we have Ethan. He is our college graduate who got a job in our hometown of San Diego. So we're thrilled about that. And he's living at home. So we have a working young adult living at home. And then Noelle, who you had recently on the podcast, she's a junior in college. She's at ORU in Tulsa. We miss her very much. We love you, Noelle. And then Lucy is with us, and she's a junior in high school.
Wonderful. Now, parents call the shots. Let's dive into that, but let's dive into it very specifically.
Yeah.
Dads call the shots because this is the
Yes.
Christian
This is
Dad
so good. I
podcast.
love that so much.
Talk to me, like talk to us as dads. Like, what do we need to know to call the shots, and when are we? Let's start there. Yeah.
Yes. So for the dad, you have such a wonderful position of being able to be the one in the marriage to say, like you're the backstop. You could be the one to say, this is out of hand. We need to do something about it. Or, hey, this thing is coming down the pike. We need some leadership and we need to prepare for this thing. So really lean into that because we as moms, we are nurturing, we're loving, we're supporting, but we don't necessarily see like that next thing. So I want to say like that decisiveness of a dad is really, really good. Lean into that and don't question yourself because your wife can sense that, like, oh, he's not sure about that. And then we'll kind of try to talk you into something else. But if you come in very certain and like, no, dear, and I'm not talking about don't be argumentative with your wife, but the important things, the things you know are really valuable to your family, stand up for them. So, really, go back to the fifth commandment, honor your father and mother, right? So that it's the first commandment with promise so that it will go well with you. So, as a dad, realize, hey, maybe sometimes I feel maybe your wife makes you feel like you're not good at the parenting thing because the wife is spending more time with the children, which is probably it is true for most people, but realize that doesn't mean that you're not super important, and keep showing up even if your wife is being resistant to it, but obviously show up in a loving way towards your wife. Talk to her behind closed doors if you disagree with the ways that she's doing things with the kids, have those hard discussions. But the idea here is if they don't honor you as a dad, then how are they going to honor authority in the future, whether it's a parent, a coach, a boss? So really dial into that. Don't take flack from your kids. They can disagree with you, which is something you often say, but don't let them dishonor you. And then really fight for the honor of your wife. And that's going to win her heart over to you. I've heard of people saying that they say to their kids, you can't talk to my wife that way, like when their kids are, because the dad is the one who can step in and say, hey, son, daughter, you're being disrespectful to your mom right now. She's my wife. Apologize to her. Like that kind of leadership is needed, and your wife will love that. And that'll make up for the times for her to listen to you when she doesn't feel like listening to you. But really insist on that honor. So that's a good piece because that's in obedience to God, and it's something so missing from the home.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's get very practical. Let's talk about something I did good that was where I parents call the shots, where dad is called the
Yeah.
shots. Where is something that I did that was a good thing in our relationship and you were on board? Or maybe let's go where you were on board and where you weren't on board. Let's talk about the first one.
Okay, there could be so many things. And actually, I think they're related because many times when you introduce something, I am not initially on board. And then afterwards, I'm like, okay, that was a good idea. I'm bored. So the bicycle is a perfect example of this. So I'm not very athletic. You're very athletic. So I'm the kid I didn't grow up doing stuff. So when I see our kids, like Ethan, let's say, was in kindergarten and you're trying to teach him to ride a bicycle. And I'm more like, hey, that's really hard. He's done enough today. Let him go. Right. So our street tilts downward. So obviously, when a street tilts downward, it goes a little fast. And that could be kind of intimidating. Right. So he was on his bike and he kind of like, I can't remember if he fell, or he just kind of sputtered around. Right. And he was like, I want to stop. Like, I want to stop. And he had already done a lot. I want to stop. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, let him stop. But you were like, "Oh no, get back on the bike. We're going to do it one more time." And you made him go back to like kind of the top of our hill and do it again. And in my mind, I was like, "No, you should not make him do that." Like he's 5, the poor kid, but I'm trying to let you call the shots and lead. So I like kind of bit my tongue and didn't say anything. And then he did ride the bike and he did make it fine and he did have this big smile on his face and it was great and it was good. And I think that's like an example of so many 3 times of different things of when you say, I think our kids should do this, and then I'm not sure about it, but I'm just quiet about it, and then you make them do it, and then it's good for them. Ordering at a restaurant. So let's say I know, oh, the kids had a hard day at school, like, let's be extra nice to the kid. You don't care about all that kind of stuff. You're just like, okay, order, and these are little kids, these are like 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. You'd be like, okay, if you're at the fast food place, you order your hamburger, and if that person can't hear you, then sorry, you don't get any food. And so I could think in my mind, oh, that's so mean. They had such a hard day. Like, give them a break. Let them say it twice, all these things because we want to accommodate. But you would lay down the law and say that. And that was good because otherwise they wouldn't have learned that skill so well.
Let's go back to the bicycle, then we'll go to the food. Um, my thinking was is that whenever I train, I always want to end on a good note, and
Yeah.
a fall is a bad note. So that was my thinking. So let's go. You are an amazing mom, and you bit your tongue. But
Right.
let's talk about the wife that doesn't bite her tongue. Oh, come on. Ethan's had too much. He's done, and comes to the defense of the kid in the presence of the dad.
Mhm.
What should the dad do?
Mm. I think the dad should pray. I think the dad should say, "Lord, just open my wife's eyes to see that I have something to contribute, like soften her heart towards me." And then at a different time, not that time of correction, not that, but at a different time where your wife looks like she's not hangry and that she's not overly stressed. But as you say, James, there is no good time. Like whenever there is to say something, you'll be like, there's no good time. But basically, it would go something like this: Sweetheart, I want to, I believe you want me to be a present dad. Is that right? Well, yeah, I want you to be a present dad. I find that when I try to do something with the kids, you often disagree with me, and I'm just not sure how to be present if I'm not able to speak my mind. And just let it and just go quiet and let her kind of come to that realization of, wow, I'm kind of asking you to do an impossible thing. I'm asking you to weigh in as a dad, but then I'm criticizing you so that you don't even want to weigh in as a dad anymore. So for that dad to communicate to his wife, honey, I really do want to be involved and I want to work as a team. And this protects the usness of the marriage, that we are not trying to go, you parent this way and I parent this way and we're at odds with each other. If the father, the husband really says, I want to fight for us. I want to fight that we parent as a team. I don't know any good and decent woman who would refuse that and say, like, you can take that and shove it because I'm going to do it my way. Like most women would say, wow, like, yeah, I want to fight for us too. And so that might look like small compromises, that one time hey, we follow what she wants to do about the bedtime. And then the next time she's more, so you're respecting one another. Like the husband's like, wow, that was a good idea, dear. I'm so glad we did it that way. You're so smart. And then the wife feels valued and listened to. And then when the husband says, hey, I think we should do this, then the wife would be like, okay, let's give it a try. And something a long time ago, Bob Lepine said on Family Life Today, because really for the women, it's an issue of control. We want control. And when we feel like we're able to control the kids, control these things, it makes us feel good. But the truth is, women, we need to not have that feeling of control because God is in control, not us. You cannot engineer all the circumstances of your kid's life. So to realize, wait a minute, I am not in control. God is in control. So that's the first surrender. And then the second surrender is, wow, when we're at an impasse, God has given me a leader. God's given me a husband. And Bob Lepine at Family Life Today would say, who's to know which way is better? You don't know. Like husband wants A, wife wants B. Who knows? Obviously, if as long as it's not illegal or immoral, like either one could be okay.
Or
So for the husband,
yeah,
it's when you keep loving her, even when she's being like a jerk to you, then that'll start cracking her heart. So when you feel emasculated because she just is like, we're not going to listen to you. We're just going to do it my way. For you to be able to still be loving towards her, not mad, not angry, for you to regulate yourself. Like you're not going to yell at her. You're not getting mad to her, but maybe more from a sad emotion, a softer, gentler emotion, a softer answer, right? Against to quiet her wrath, to be like, I'm really sorry that you see it that way. And at a later time, I'd love to talk to you more about this.
okay, so here we are in the driveway. We're learning how to ride bike ride. We got tears. We got maybe a little bit of blood, and oh my baby. Um, let's assume you open up your mouth. It would be a
Yeah.
bad time. Would it be a bad? Maybe there's a good. Maybe there's a couple of choices, like multiple choice.
Yeah.
The dad could be like, "I'm going to talk about this later. I'm going to not address this at the moment. Let's see.
Hmm.
Choice one would be, I'm going to talk about this later, or I'm going to talk about this now, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Or the third option is, I'm not going to talk about this at all and just put my tail
Yes.
between my legs and walk
That's
away.
what the most people I think do, right? That's the easiest option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it could be like, hey, honey, could you do me a huge favor and
Mm,
go into the house right now? You know what
mm,
I mean? Like, instead of like,
mm,
let's fight on the driveway about
mm,
it, this thing, but honestly, and like, could you do me a huge favor and just
mm,
trust me on this and go in the house right now? I
mm.
like that better than like, What are you doing? I know better. This, you don't know better, or like sometimes, or like a sharp answer.
Sure.
I like better, like, could you just give me a minute with the kids?
Dads love it when we're disregarded and we're not respected. That
One of
really
your favorite
strikes
emotions.
our one of our Gary Chapman emotional five love languages. Maybe that's the sixth love language, being disregarded and discounted. Um, so basically, what I'm kind of hearing you saying is deal with this in private. Talk about this. Do we? I'm very curious. Do we ever argue in front of the kids a lot?
I've probably done it where I say a few sentences, but
Mm,
I've really tried to not say I disagree with you in
me too.
front of them.
Yeah.
So I try to tell you afterwards.
In the moment, I have done basically option one or two.
And you're a stronger
I am.
personality, so
I
there's
am.
gonna be a lot of dads who are not a strong
That's
personality. So
true.
you're a strong personality
I'm a
and you
strong
will
brew.
insist. You will insist like, "No, Arlene, be like you will literally say, "Arlene, be quiet,
Oops.
and kids listen to me and do what I say." Okay, so you have no problem saying that's right. So for you dads out there, and I'm not saying that that's how you should do it, by the way, dads. It'd be better. That's why I said, "Go in the house and give me a moment with the kids." I like that better. But but if you're much more like you don't want that kind of fight with your wife, you're much more passive about it. You don't want to say it. So for you, the step might be like making yourself say something.
Yeah, fair enough. And we can't let this fester. Like time doesn't heal it. If you have something that's infected,
Yeah.
right? If it's infected, you have time, it just becomes a disaster,
Mhm.
right? So this kind of needs like antibiotics. One way, shape, or
This
form, we
makes me
need to.
think like on the dollar bill, isn't it like e pluribus unum from many
Mm,
one, right?
yeah.
So I think the core of this is for the husband and wife to really realize we are not fighting each other. We are actually on the same page from many one, from many viewpoints of how to raise the kids. The husband probably like, hey, let's take the kids to the next level. And the wife being like, oh, you're being so harsh on them. Maybe not. Maybe they're not ready, and to realize both of those things are really good, to have a nurturing support and also to have the hey, let's climb the next mountain. So e pluribus unum, people, from anyone.
Mm, mm. I think we did hash a lot of things out in closed doors. We deliberately made a point not to argue in front of the kids. So
Mhm.
we would show a not a divided front,
and,
but a unified front.
and the kids totally know when it's like, oh, like, should we do this 10-mile hike right now? I mean, they know that dad's like yes and mom's like no, so they exactly know what you're thinking.
I'm not asking daddy. I'm not asking daddy.
Yeah.
Ask mommy. Ask mommy. Shh. Don't say anything. That's so funny. So there is this practical implication where there's this disagreement, and this guy, I see a lot of guys being discounted,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I don't think they know what to do with that discount. And I think you helped us deal with it in private
mhm.
or deal with it in the moment, but
And
deal with it
dads
lovingly.
dads prove yourself worthy. Prove yourself worthy of the trust. It doesn't mean that everything has to go perfectly. So sometimes you'll make a decision and it'll be like, oh, that didn't go well. The kid did fall off the bike and kept falling off the bike and never got back. And that's fine. But show yourself that there is, it helped me when I knew there was kind of rhyme behind your like rhyme behind the reasoning, whatever that expression is. Like the time when you had them drive in the snow, it's a perfect example, right? So Ethan just had his permit and you guys went driving. I wasn't with you, obviously. You were skiing with the kids. You had
Storm
him
chasers,
behind the wheel in bad weather.
really bad
And
weather.
I thought and I wasn't there, thank God, because that one I would have really had a hard time biting my tongue. And I would have tried very hard to bite my tongue. But when you explain, so I was mad afterwards, like, that's crazy. Why did you make him drive in bad weather with a permit? Like, that's nuts. And what did you tell me?
Strategy 8, launching adults, not babying
Mhm,
children.
mhm.
Not
Yeah,
quite.
you
I said,
did. You did.
sweetheart,
Yeah.
when he's alone by himself with his buddies in college, would you rather have him go up to the mountains chasing a storm with a buddy or with his dad?
Yeah. So when I understood the reason behind it, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So, dads, if you can help us as women understand the why, not just like, this is the way I do it, but help us understand, like, like exactly what you just said, that helps us to understand, oh, that actually makes sense. And I be worthy of this trust.
Yeah. That's interesting. That whole idea of being worthy of the trust, like we're rising, parents are rising, but
Yeah.
dads are calling the shots for a reason, right?
Mhm.
It's not just to be a bully. It's not just because they're
Yeah.
selfish
Yeah.
ingrates. They're
It's to
doing it.
grow together as a mom and a dad. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it for the purpose of raising and launching godly adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, of course, there's going to be, when we rise up or when we call the shots, there's going to be resistance.
Yes.
There's going to be, whether it be resistance from mom, resistance from the kids, there's going to be resistance. How do we overcome this resistance, this guilt, these tears, or whatever it is?
You are really good at this because no matter what happens, you will be resolved. So I think it has to begin with no matter what kind of pushback I receive, I it is resolved. And I like to picture just the worst thing happening. So you as a dad, you roll something out, your wife's mad at you, your kids are mad at you, nobody's talking to you for a few days, there are some doors slammed, there are things
We don't
happening, you
really
get
have
the
doors slamming,
silent
but
treatment.
sometimes
But
we do.
no, I'm just saying not I'm not saying you know what I'm saying, but just expect like these bad things will happen. So when they happen, you're not like, oh, maybe I should backpedal. Maybe no, you're like, I expected this. I knew this would happen. And to realize that it's the whole hard now, easy later axiom that if you do the hard thing now of correction, nobody's going to say, yay, you took away my video game. Yay, you want me to stop cussing. Yay, you want me to get good grades. Great. Or like, stop, you get it. Nobody's going to thank you. Your kid's not going to thank you in the moment. So it's very hard now. And parents give up. Dads give up. Like, this is too hard. No one's listening to me. But you
Where do
have to,
you think my resolve came from?
you're very confident. You are not afraid to speak your mind. I think part of it is your personality, that's how you're wired. You're not wired for excuses. You see an excuse and you're like, tooey, I hate that excuse. It almost gives you more energy, where other people get an excuse and it cripples them. Right. So I think part of it
What
is
did
how
what did,
you're,
what did Craig Rochelle say in the recent podcast?
you can either have progress. That's what it was. You can either have progress
Yes.
or you can have an excuse, but you can't have both. So I think you're wired a lot that way. But having said that, you've also built that in by books you read, by being inquisitive, by talking to people. So it's made you even more resolved. So I think it doesn't matter, even if your personality is not this way, you can learn this. You can learn this and
Yes.
be like, what I say is what I do. And you can train yourself to be that way. And I do think that whole, you can either have progress or you can have excuses, but you can't have both.
I want to read something that Gary Chapman wrote. You quote it in your book. The Bible is very clear that parents are responsible for rearing their children. I think that's part of where my resolve came from. I
Yeah.
consider it like a mandate from God. I don't
Yes.
consider it lightly. I don't consider it the school's responsibility. I don't
Mhm.
consider it, grandparents' responsibility or the church's responsibility. It is I am the principal.
Right.
I'm the
That's
principal.
right. Yes.
Sorry, Gary. I just thought I'd interject that.
No, it's good.
We will get help from the school and the church, but it's our responsibility. I think some of the key elements are having clear rules following God's model, clear consequences if you break the rules, and consistency in applying those consequences. That's the way God treats us, and that's the model for parents.
It's so good. Boom.
Boom. So I think part of that resolve, and this is what I'm getting at, that part of that
Yeah.
resolve, like I think first of all, love covers a multitude of sins. Of
Mhm.
course, I made mistakes. Of course, I was too harsh. I was too demanding. But the kids knew. The
Yeah.
kids knew that I loved them.
Yeah.
Is that
For
fair?
sure. Oh, it's more than fair. And that's what it is. When you have the high relationship, you can have these high rules, and they knew it was for their good. I don't think they ever thought you're doing this just to bother me or to, you know what I mean? They knew you wanted their good. They just didn't agree with the way that you were doing it. But the intent, I think, was always clear. Dad is for us.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it needs to be said because I was always for them, not about them making me look better. That was like the
Hmm.
least.
You don't care about those things. You're not going through life like, oh, gee, I wonder how this is going to play out on Instagram. You don't care.
And I think that's part of the secret sauce, though.
Yes, I agree.
Is
Yeah,
that because the parents calling the shots is part of that secret sauce is
that's right.
right?
Because yes, because out there you're going to be questioned like, "Oh, do you really know? You know, let your child blossom, let them follow their heart. You're squashing them, all this." So all these years of trying to build this children's self-esteem, like parents
Yes.
don't do anything to hurt your child's
Yes.
self-esteem. Well, wow, look, that's led to more anxiety and depression than anything else because what it was we gave them self-esteem with no they didn't have to have any effort
Or
to
competence.
earn our competence.
Yeah.
We just loved them just because they breathed, you know, and obviously
Mhm.
we love them, but you understand.
Sure.
But there needed to be something where, hey, you guys, there's something you can learn here. And you were really good at that.
Yeah, I think that component of like the sports component, the active component, the idea of them winning, whether it be at school or in, in the sports field or whether it's skiing, is really appropriate for the dad. I see it kind of like a funnel. Like
Yeah.
initially it's really strict, like
Yeah.
the elementary years are really strict, and then it gets wider and wider and wider. Uh, yeah, obviously there's more of a full court press. It's interesting the role of the relationship between the mom and the dad there. Um, Many times I see moms, maybe dads, I don't know, but is it fair to say that some moms get their emotional cup filled from their kids
Oh,
and as
of
a result are
course.
more defensive of their children?
Oh my goodness, because it's kind of easier. So if, just think of it for you and me when we're first dating and we're courting, it's so easy. You have all this love, your hormones are just going crazy. You're learning new things about them, right? It's so easy. But then you're married 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
I had a
You
mortgage, I had a couple
you
of kids, a car
exactly.
payment.
It's like you
Yeah.
don't have that same curiosity about each other. You know each other. But with your kids, they're always changing. It's like, oh my word, an 18-month-old to a 4-year-old to a 6-year-old to a 9-year-old. I mean, it's adorable. They're changing.
Oh,
Seriously,
they're so
they're
cute.
so
They're so cute.
interesting. They're
They're
so
so cute.
cute. So it's easy to dote on them. Like it's kind of more natural for a mom to dote on her kids, where it takes more effort to look at her husband and have that same doting.
So let's kind of land the plane here in terms of like the whole chapter that I really wanted to nail down was this whole
Yeah.
thing of parents call the shots,
Yeah.
dad
I
calls the
wanna
shots.
I wanna read this by
Go ahead,
Doctor Leonard Sachs. He's
please.
like a very good pediatrician. Over the past 3 decades, there's been a massive transfer of authority from parents to kids. Along with that transfer of authority has come a change in the valuation of kids' opinions and preferences. In many families, what kids think and what kids like and what kids want now matters as much or more than what their parents think and like and want. Let kids decide has become a mantra of good parenting. These well intentioned changes have been profoundly harmful to kids. So I think as we're closing to realize parents call the shots, this isn't a dictatorship. This is for the health of our children that kids don't know. And that we as parents have to be the ones to help them to call the shots and to be like, no, you know, we will help you with this. And that's something you did always really well that we knew that, you know, like for instance, the car was dad university. Like you would listen to podcasts you were interested in. You would listen to audiobooks you were interested that you sometimes thought the kids also would be interested. But I'm talking about road trips when our kids were like 2, 4, 6. It's like we listened to what you wanted to listen to because that's what you remembered about driving around with your father. You listened to his classical music, not to your music. So to realize, oh my goodness, we have made so much about the kids and it makes them self absorbed and selfish instead of realizing, oh, I'm in now being part of my father's world, like learning adult things. Instead, we adults, we're learning all these kid things and it's the wrong direction.
I did it last night. I was picking you up at the airport. Lucy
Yeah.
decided she was going to come, and she immediately changed the radio station. I said, "Baby Dom, I would love for you to come with me, but I'm going to listen to this podcast. And if you don't want that, you can. Sorry, I love you, but you can get out now, and I'll just pick up mommy myself."
You got the choice.
That's your choice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Part of the thing too that I was always trying to do was kids get kind of like myopic in a sense. They
Hmm.
focus on a particular thing and they
Yeah.
lose. They don't realize that it's a big, big, big world with
Mm,
so many options, and many times they don't want to explore those options because they get comfortable,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So, in terms of me calling the shots, I just wanted to say, today we're going to try rollerblading or
Right,
skiing or
right. Yeah.
mountain biking or whatever the case may be, or boating. I love rowing.
And I wanna say this too, because someone listening might be like, "My word, they're saying all these active things," and that's myopic. And I wanna say, on the other hand, you also had books on the piano with dollar signs on the spines of the books that if the kids would read those books, they could make money. So you're also physically, you were trying to do things, spiritually, you're taking them to church, you're doing spiritual activities, mentally, you're trying to get them to read books. So you are trying to open up their funnel, the funnel of their mind.
Yes, yes, yes. I think the heart of this whole thing is of parents rising, of the parents calling the shots,
Yeah.
is that we have a God given responsibility. This is existential.
Yes. Yeah.
This is existential. Like our kids' lives, their trajectories
Yeah.
depend upon our leadership. It could be soft leadership. Everyone has a personality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. There's no question about that. Doesn't have to be my personality. God forbid. No, there's only one, James.
God help us. Heaven help us.
But there is this existential God given thing that you only have this short window of time, right?
Yes. Yes.
And also as a dad, it needs to be said, like, I need your help. Like,
Mhm.
I'm good at certain things, at other things I'm not good at all at.
Yeah. So you asking your wife, is that what you're saying? I
Yeah, I
need your
just think it's
help. Yeah.
appropriate for us to work together as a team to really
Yeah.
do, I mean, zone defense, if you will.
Yes, protect the us. Yes. And
Protect
that goes
us.
back to honor your father and mother. It's a commandment. Like you're saying that this resolve came from the Lord. And this is a commandment to us, that existential threat of, hey, if you are not honored and if you do not call for that honor, your kids will not live long in the land and they may eternally not know me. Like it is a step, because if they're not respectful, honoring of us, what are they going to think of a heavenly father and a heavenly God, where it's not a democracy? It is a, you are the king and ruler of my life, and I will submit to you. And if kids have no sense of that in the home, it just is a roadblock to their relationship with God.
Now let's put that statement in like a little parentheses here, because parenting does change. So I think we're talking about the elementary school
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
Obviously, things shift a little bit into junior high and high school.
Yeah.
Question for you: let's assume that dad hasn't been calling the shots
Hmm.
and wants to start calling the shots with his eighth grader or his 10th
Right.
grader. What does that process look like?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it looks like reconnecting again, like
Mm.
showing your 8th grader, like, "Hey," because 'cause they're gonna be like, "Where did you come from?" if you haven't been that active, right? So, it kind of starts with
Now
showing
you're
up at
back
their, right,
from
yes,
outer
from outer
space.
space. This is like showing up at their games more than you usually do, or taking them
Interesting.
out for a pancake breakfast
Good.
once a month,
Good.
uh, going rollerblading
Good.
together, going on a bike ride together, going
Good.
to a car show together. Like it's showing up in their life
Yeah. Yeah.
where it's like, oh, okay. Like, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a once a month thing and it's something you can keep doing. It's not like you just do it once, but you're doing it like, oh, once a month we have this thing now, my dad and I didn't even know we were a thing. And so that's good. Like start having that shoulder to shoulder. We are doing a regular activity together. I am a part of your life. And then from that place of, oh, there's my dad, he's there. Then there's more coaching, guiding, direction that can come out of that.
So connect first.
Connect first.
I spoke with a pastor years ago who was he pastored after someone left the church, and I asked him, "What would you have done different? What would you have done different?" He said, "I would have established a relationship first, really
Mhm.
strong before I cast the vision." It was interesting to hear his
Mhm.
perspective.
Yeah.
So really connect first before you cast the vision. But I also think in that frame, does an apology come into fray?
Yes, 100%. That if it's something where you realize my work has taken precedent, I've just kind of checked out because I just felt like you're saying cast aside. Like for the dad, your opinion has been cast aside, so you just kind of gave up on it. And now you're realizing you're listening to this podcast, it's a God ordained moment for you to say, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to step back into my role of a leader of this family." So that's an apology to your wife. Honey, I just listened to this podcast. Listen to this podcast. Now you listen to it. So we're on the same page. And I've realized I abdicated my role to you. because it was easier. And I'm sorry. And I'm going to do my best. I'm going to stumble. I'm not going to do it right, but I'm going to try my best. And I need you to help me. And I'm going to start by like family dinner, that we're going to do that device free. And I'm going to show up to family dinners now instead of working late at work or whatever it is. So for you, it's could be an apology to your wife, an apology to your child. Hey, you are the second most important person in my life after mom, right? That you say to your kid. And I have not been showing up for you the way that I wanted to, and then specifically, whatever it is, like, and in the week, a whole week could go by and we don't have a good conversation, or we used to, shoot hoops and we haven't done that for months, whatever it is. I'm sorry that we've stopped doing that. And I want to make it up to you. Will you let me try? Right. And just start there.
That's good. That's good. I don't want to prolong this, but I do think like the walk, I found that especially when the
Mm,
kids were even elementary school, when they get a little hot and they just need to cool off, where does
yeah.
the walk come into play?
Well, let's do this two ways, because it could be, if you're in conflict, it could be, instead of just like staring at each other, yelling at each other, be like, hey, let's take this outside and let's take a walk and talk about it. That could help. And then on the preventative side, the walk that is just a walk to be nice, it's just a walk to be together. That's super good too.
Excellent. Excellent. Arlene, I know you have a passion for Parents Rising. Thank you again for all your input. Do you mind closing us out in a quick word of prayer?
I would love to. Lord, we thank you that you have given us these children. Thank you, Lord, for our kids. They are treasures to us. Restore, God, the things that the devil has tried to take away from us. Help dads to be able to communicate strength and love and leadership in their homes. Let there be reconciliation between a husband and a wife so that they could be on the same page in parenting. Let there be just an ordering of the family, that the dad is the leader and the mom is submitting and listening and respecting, that they're listening to one another and honoring one another. And this would cause a change in the home. And we pray for dads that they'd be able to connect with their kids, with their girls that are on Instagram all the time, with their boys who are playing video games. Help them, Lord, the dad, to be the leader in strength and love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks again, Arlene. Love you.
Thank you. It was super fun.
Goodbye.